Hello, ladies, gents, boys and girls, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We're back in the 737 MAX 8 by iFly. Really enjoying my time in the aircraft at the moment, so I thought we'd do another video. We are Singapore Airlines 2776 from Phuket over to Singapore Changi. We're in a 737 MAX 8 flight time of an hour and a half. Going to be cruising at 370, taking 7 tons of fuel and 152 passengers over. Departing here at Phuket at runway 27 and arriving on the ILS 02 left in Singapore Changi. So let's jump into the flight deck and get everything set up. So welcome into the flight deck. We need to get a few things set up first. We've got ground power and everything set up at the moment. So we're going to go for the fuel pump on, probe heats on, electric and hydraulic pumps, seatbelt sign can come on, and we're going to pack into auto. That's all we need to do for that now. We'll jump over into the performance and payload and we'll get the weight and balance popped in here. So 152 passengers. Cargo will put 2,000 kg in the forward and 1,500 or 1,750, sorry, in the aft, and the total fuel will be 7 tons, yeah, 7,000 kg. That's correct, and we'll just make sure that's all lined up there. That's fine. So we go FMC, pause in it. Next page. We need to get the IRSs aligned, I believe. Well, I forgot to do that. Yes. So we'll get those into the nav position. And just make sure. Oh, no, I've done that wrong. So we've got FMC, GPS left. Pop that in there, and we are at Victor, not Yankee Tango, and it's Sierra Papa for Phuket, and we are going to Whiskey Sierra Sierra Sierra, and we'll request the sim brief data. We'll go RTO and we'll get the APU started, because in that cabin it is absolutely roasting. 28 degrees outside. Guarantee you it's humid in this part of the world. We'll load the flight plan, get everything popped in, activate, execute, and departure runway is 27 here at Phuket. We'll execute that with departures 27, and we are going to be departing on the Reba 1 Bravo, which that's that one, and then the ILS 02 on the Tebu 1 Alpha. Just seeing if it needs the transition, which I don't think it does. Just checking on the chart here. No, so I think it should just be like that. There should be a discontinuity from the fixed point of runway 02 left, but we'll sort that out when we get there. Again, using the TCA Boeing yoke, captain's yoke pack for this flight. This really does help with flying, actually. And in the 737 MAX 8 as well, it's just really nice. It goes together really nicely. And there's the disco. So we will leave that, so VNAV doesn't need to worry about anything yet. We'll get the APU on and the APU bleed on to get some conditioned air into the cabin. And we'll get the yaw damper on. We've got the cabin utils as well. And we're going to the terminal charts. We'll get the ones from the FMC. This is the only thing I don't like about the iFly 737 MAX. It's really annoying to get sort of charts and fuel loaded and stuff. I think they should take a little leaf out of Phoenix's and PMDG's book and make a new tablet that's user friendly. It is user friendly. I mean, that's a bit harsh. It's just a bit clicky. There's too many pages, too many things. You lose track of where stuff is. It just gets annoying. But so I think it's just the RNAV departures 27, isn't it? We'll complete that and I'll just have a double check. Yeah. So our departure is there. The Remble one. So it's 270, max 272. And the top altitude of the SID is 11,000, so we'll plug that in. That's all well and correct there. And we'll jump onto the first officer side and just get legs paint plugged on that side. Init reference, zero fuel weight 62.4 reserves. Let's have a look at the PDF. Our alternates, so we're going to need about 2.7 tons in total. And that's the wind there, 100 at 18. Right, so let's get the payload of performance. So this is really nice in the iFly 737 MAX, the performance calculator. So we don't need any anti-ice today. Air conditioning needs to be on. 43 is our selected temperature, and flat 5 auto trim, and we've got 5.48, 151, 140, 138 V speed, so we'll get that plugged in there. And that is the pre-flight complete. Get some fixed rings in as well, go 02 left, make sure that we've got distance rings for the arrival runway, just to give us a bit of situational awareness when we get down there. That should be alright there. So let's have a look at the arrival charts. And I think we're doing the yeah, that one, top left or top right. Yeah, and that looks all good there. And just having a check of the ILS chart. Minimums is 222, which we'll set when we're beginning our roll, and the IRS is just aligned, so we can get everything ready for departure now. A bit of airport information. Quite a small airport here at Phuket, so we'll just push back and taxi straight down the one taxiway. The taxiway doesn't go all the way to the end of the runway, but we've got plenty of performance to make it from that intersection, so we're not going to backtrack. Just use the length that we've been given, and that should be plenty to get off the ground. So everything's set up basically. We just need to get everything removed, and we can request pushback. So just double checking the departure max 270, 2,500 feet left hand turn, and then we're on the river, 11,000 feet, and then we're going to taxi down the taxiway all the way to the end, which isn't the actual end of the runway. Disconnect the jet bridge, and we'll go and get rid of all the ground support. This is what I mean. Look how many pages and everything there is on this EFB. It's really, really disorganised. We'll set that. And we'll get the terminal charts back open, and we can jump into better pushback. Not better pushback. What's it called on here? Toolbar pushback. That's the one. Pre-planned pushback. And we'll go like that. That seems alright. And we'll request pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by. sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for
Parking
push
brakes
start.
released. Takes a while to
Parking
get
brakes
these
are
engines
released.
started, so
Commencing
we'll go and
pushback.
get
You can start the
the
engines in
APU,
sequence.
not the APUs,
It will
believe.
start
We'll
in
go
the
and get the
sequence.
packs on the off position and the start switch to ground. And we'll get motor in. It's quite hot, so we might have a high temperature already. Shouldn't take too long. Again, the sound in this aeroplane are brilliant. The Pod Boris sound works. It comes default with the aeroplane. It's absolutely fantastic. So we can throw the fuel in now. And engine number 2 is starting nicely. And iFly have done an absolutely fantastic job with everything with this aeroplane. The modelling, the system depth, it's absolutely fantastic. I would like to see some refinement to the VNAV and I think it's the thrust that I've got a problem with. Well, not the thrust, the sort of angle it climbs at sometimes. If you go level change, 250 knots, when you're quite heavy still, it'll still climb at 4,500, 5,000 feet per minute, which I just think is a bit unrealistic considering that most of the flights I do in this airplane have, sort of
Okay, pushback
takeoff weight.
completed. Please set your parking
So we set the
brake.
parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake
Just
set.
waiting for
Lowering
the red
aircraft.
bar to disappear on the engine number 2.
Ground. You may
Page
disconnect.
Okay, sir. Clear to
And that's
disconnect.
disappeared, so we'll get
Pin has
engine
been
number 1
removed. See you at the side.
to the ground
Have
position.
a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and
and we'll
goodbye.
wait for that engine to start as well. And we can throw the fuel in. That's engine number 1 starting quite nicely now. And engine number 1 is starting. There you go. So we've got left gen, right gen, take light on, APU off, start switches to the continuous, probe heat and window heat on, patch to auto, isolation valve, and the APU bleed off, flaps 5, and we'll get ready to do the flight control check. So, all right, neutral, all left, neutral, all forward, neutral, all back, neutral now for the rudders, all left, and all right. All flight controls are free and correct. Just double check that everything's done in the overhead. Got no lights on. Release the parking brake, and we'll start taxiing. So just follow this taxiway all the way down to the end of the runway. I don't know who this scenery is from. Neither the Singapore scenery, actually. I'm really sorry. I'll try and find out who this scenery is from. It's really nice though. I've only flown into it once. I did a 777 flight from Moscow to here in the Aeroflot 777. Followed a real world flight and purchased this scenery. It's really nice. Really nice. It's really good on frames, and actually the Singapore scenery we're going to is, for such a big airport, is absolutely fantastic on frames. I'm really worried when purchasing airports the size of sort of anything bigger than, I don't know really, the sort of mid-sized to high-end larger airports. I always get worried about purchasing just in case they're too heavy on performance. Heathrow is actually quite good on performance now in my system. I don't know what any builds have done to it, but I'd probably say there. Los Angeles, any builds LA, any builds JFK, WSSS-SIM, Guangzhou, and Trezeki Designs, Warsaw, and I'm trying to think, and maybe Malaga as well, MK Studios Malaga. I don't know why, but that's really heavy on my system, MK Studios Malaga. But all those are quite heavy on frames. All the other sceneries that I've showcased in my videos are really good on frames. Oh, and Paraguay Sim, their rendition of Edinburgh. That's really heavy on frames, but that's the V2 version. I've never had the V1. I purchased the V2, but it's just slightly too heavy on frames for me to do a video from. I could do the 737-800, the PMDG, sorry, is okay from there, and the 777 by PMDG, but this iFly 737 MAX, the Phoenix, they all, because they're already pretty heavy on frames anyway. Apart from that, but this scenery here is really nice. It's really good on frames, and like I said, the Singapore one's really good on frames as well. Do a little test in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I'm still getting the issue with the memory leak or whatever it is that they need to fix, but coming into approach into Manchester and at about 6,000 feet, it went from sort of 35 FPS into the higher 40s, and all of a sudden it just click of a finger down to about 15 FPS all the way down until taxiing on stand, and then it went back up to 30. It's really strange. I don't know what's causing it. Does it. So I took off from JFK going to Manchester. JFK scenery, I was getting about 30 FPS, and then all the way through the flight sort of similar FPS all the way until like I said 6,000 feet, and then get about 15 to low 20. I don't know what's going on, but he does it every time I start descending. I think the camera could sit down. We're at the whole point now, so we'll just do a rolling takeoff. Not batting or anything. As you can see, the runway, it's not that much extra bit of runway, but we'll just go from here. There's no need for a backtrack. If we were doing a long haul, maybe in a 777 or something, or if we were fully loaded, I might consider doing a backtrack, but we're half empty. We've only taken 7 tons of fuel in a max, so we should be able to get out of here no problem. So we'll spool them up. Forward pressure, clock, toe gap, the little sort of fluctuation in my thrust levers, that's normal. It's just because they're not matched up correctly. We're in neutral. Pull back through the dead band, keep it on the centre line. Nice slow rotation. Positive rate. Gear up. And onto the flight directors. It flies really nicely, the iFly 737 MAX. When it's in trim, it's really nice. So I'll bug up now to 210 knots, which is the up speed. It's gone N1. Flaps up to position 1. Start accelerating and cleaning up the aeroplane. Max 270 on this SID. I'm assuming that's because of the heavy aircraft departing at higher speeds needed for them. And we'll bug up to 250 knots. There you go. Saying goodbye to Phuket in Thailand. And flaps clean. Flaps can come up now with VNav. And takes light off. That switches go to the off position. Logo light come off and we'll release the crew because it's not that bumpy. What we'll do is we'll bug up to the 370 mark. Because there's no restrictions on this, and I know the stop altitude's 11,000, but we're not on vacuum, so we're just going straight up to 37,000 feet. As if ATC have cleared us. We'll zoom out a little bit. Climbing quite nicely now. Lovely scenery down there. Beautiful bit of the world. This is Thailand. And then we're going to Singapore as well. I think to left is that the runway that flies over the massive harbour where you see loads of ships. I think that is. You'll be able to see Singapore city centre off to our left hand side. And the taxi in Singapore, I think it's going to be quite a long one. The real aeroplane taxied off the runway, went round the whole terminal into sort of a dead end. But yeah, actually, the same flight 737 MAX 8 took a heavy stand, so we'll do the same. So the iFly's handling quite nicely now. What I'll do, guys, is I'll leave you with some climb cruise highlights, and I'll see you in about 45 minutes when we're descending into Singapore. Hello and welcome back to the flight deck. We are about to go through 10,000 feet, matching up the headings now. We've been with speed breakout for quite a bit of time now. It's been a bit aggressive, but nothing too bad. Probably this strong headwind. But the weather down there is quite nice, not too windy, 6 knot winds. It's 28 degrees and the QNH 1010. Nothing to expect. We're going to be taxiing off of runway 02 left. We're going to taxi around the whole airport to our parking stand. I haven't picked which one yet. We're not about to, so we'll just decide when we get there. We'll go flat 1 now because I just want to control the speed. This waypoint here we need to be at 220 knots and that speed is not coming down one bit. So if needed we'll get flat 1 out, which we have done. That should hold the speed. It's quite draggy in the iFly 737 MAX, so hopefully that will keep it with the speed restriction. Nothing too bad during the flight, got a bit bumpy just before our descent. But apart from that, everything's going nicely. The iFly is handling it perfectly, to be honest. We've elected to go for Automatic 2 as well. I've noticed that the PMDG 737 800, the auto brake's not that strong on that aircraft. It seems like it takes a hell of a lot to slow it down. But in this aircraft, Auto Brake 2 is more than plenty to stop you at the high-speed taxiway we need to get off of. Next speed restriction is 190 knots. We're going to have to get flat 5 out, so we get speed brake out. We'll just have a look at so 3,500 is where we need to go, but we've got complete visual of the ground below us, so we can go below that. Slowing down nicely now. Like I said, you need to keep that speed. So flat 5, we'll stay in the speed brake, we'll arm it actually. We'll leave it out, we might need it in a minute. Flat 5 sounds quite nice. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be accelerating. What I'll do now as well is we'll go legs and we'll cut the corner a little bit. Maybe direct. Get ready for the ILS. So the go around is 4,000 feet. Okay. We're on the glide nicely now. So we'll get ready to activate the approach mode when we get closer. Just making sure that we're keeping in line with that. We're not getting too low or too high. Like I said, the weather radar doesn't work on this airplane, so I've got terrain on. I'd be assuming that this time of the year, if we did have the weather radar, I'm going to have quite a few bits and bobs around the airport. I've checked the airport weather data and the charts at the moment, with the weather charts that we've been given for this flight, which are still valid, and the airport shouldn't have any weather around it at the moment. And there's some thunderstorms sort of northeast of the airport, but we should be missing them. So nothing too bad. And as you can see, this looks like we're flying through a bit of a cell or something at the moment, but it's a shame we don't have a weather radar. The aeroplane's descending nicely now. It's lovely scenery. I love flying in sort of Southeast Asia. So we get to 2,500 and we'll descend a bit faster because the glide's going slightly below us. Luckily the speed's holding quite nicely so we can afford to descend a bit faster. Speed brake's armed. I'll get ready to activate the approach mode. That looks nice out there. The ILS is coming in nicely now, so we'll get a bit, descend a bit quicker, just make sure we're bang on with that. And there's the altitude horn, 1,000 feet. We go approach mode. 4,000 go around. He's going to do a little right hand turn. This little bug with the iFly. He should be keeping a straight line until the ILS comes in and then we'll turn left, but that's okay. So left hand turn. Now as it intercepts that localizer, descending quite nicely. Just turn down the FD, it's just slightly too bright so we can do that cloud.
$2,500.
2,500. Call out. And there's Singapore off to the left hand side, the main city. Flat 5 speed now. Nice and stable. Go gear down. Flat 15, bug for flat 15, speed 163. Taxi light on. Start switches to continuous. Cabin crew can be told to sit down, and we'll double check the final approach speed. So we'll go with the winds, with a headwind we'll go 150 as our final approach. And there you go, fully configured just before the white bar, fully stable, lovely. Nice, lovely views off the left hand wing there, not so much off the right. That's really nice. What we'll do now is we'll do a bit of hand flying, I think.
1,000.
My chair, disconnect the autopilot, all the throttles out. To my aeroplane. Windy there as we come over, trimming a little bit. The aeroplane's handling quite nicely.
400.
Just trying to make sure that I'm stable.
300.
Kick of the wind there.
Approaching minimums. 200. Minimums.
Continue.
100.
Tad
50.
high.
40. 30. 20. 10,
Hold it there, got the thrust. Down we are. And reverses are out. New brakes up. Centre line, quite nice there. And there you can see the auto brake kicking in. Accelerating through 80 knots now. And reverses can come in, manual braking, and we'll take the exit that we planned for. Brilliant. Landed a bit long there, but in the touchdown zone, so it was legal, nice and stable as well. Would have been a nice soft landing. Sorry for the freezes on touchdown, it's just Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 thing. Clean the aeroplane up now, get the APU on, and the taxi lights can all come off there. So on the charts, taxi this way, all the way to the end, and then we'll cut in. Lovely bit of flying that was, really enjoyed that. Nice sceneries both sectors as well. So as you can see, we're on this line here, November, and then we'll turn right at the end, and there's, it looks like Prong, that's where the other aircraft parked. We won't go that far in, we'll just take any stand on the right hand side that's in the main terminal building. Where we are, massive airport, Singapore Changi. Have they opened the third runway in the corner yet? I'm sure they have. I'm sure this scenery's out of date, but I know they were building the terminal building as well, over by that third runway in the corner, 02 right. I don't know whether they're using it yet, because all the aircraft that I was looking at flight radar earlier were departing off 02 centre and arriving on 02 left. So it'll be this right hand turn coming up. So this right hand turn. We won't take the massive stands on the end of the pier that are for like the A380 and stuff like that. The stands are a little bit smaller, closer to that dome in the middle where the famous waterfall and the train goes through. So we'll take that stand there. Yeah. So that's where the real aeroplane parks, in that sort of cul-de-sac, as we call it in the UK. TFDI have released an update for the MD-11. I think we'll fly that next. Really itching to fly some MD-11 operations. I'm thinking we'll do KLM over to St Martin, which was a real flight operated by the MD-11, or we're going to do KLM to San Francisco, which was also a real flight operated by that aircraft a long time ago, but I thought it'd be cool to do a passenger service in the MD-11. And we'll just take any stand on the right hand side in a second. stand there looks as good as any. So we'll take Delta 41. And start swinging it round. Taxi light can come off now, don't want to blind the ground crew. And we'll call it a day there. So we'll set the parking brake. Engine 1 and 2 can come off. Beacon light can come off now. We'll get the passengers can be released. APU bleed on. Get some conditioned air into that cabin, and the rest of the airplane can be cleaned up. So, welcome down to Singapore Changi. Flight time of 1 hour and 35 minutes in the end, not too bad, we arrived on time. Hope you enjoyed today's video, really enjoyed flying in Southeast Asia today. Don't do it very often, we're usually sort of routed to mainland Europe, North America. Jumping back into the MD-11 probably next time, really itching to fly some older aircraft. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again very shortly in the next video.